blackouts or just flat-out blackouts, period, throughout the summer. And this goes for everyone coast to coast here in the United States. And when we look at these warnings, NERC is saying that the power supplies in the western U.S. could be strained because of the historic drought, which we've talked about. That reduces the hydroelectric power that is generated for those areas. Then you have the weather, the super hot temps. We have no cloud seeding happening down in the west at all. Not a word of it, no one's speaking of it. They're not even trying or attempting to even bring any rain to these regions. They're doing the exact opposite. They're drying it out. You combine that with them trying to kick up this new green energy plan that seems to not have any backing or any support in it whatsoever. They can't get the solar going, can't get the wind going, or the batteries, any of this stuff together. And it's what they're calling the perfect storm. Imagine that, a perfect storm, huh? Things don't just happen like this. They're engineered this way, just like the scam we've been living through this whole time. But when we get the energy plan that seems to not have any backing or any support in it whatsoever, they can't get the solar going, can't get the wind going, or the batteries, any of this stuff together. And it's what they're calling the perfect storm. Imagine that, a perfect storm, huh? Things don't just happen like this. They're engineered this way, just like the scam we've been living through this whole time. But when we take a look here at North America, you can see that it's broke down into several different regions. And depending on where you live, your power is coming from one of these regions. You can see the Quebec region, you can see the Alaska connection, you can see the Western connection, you can see Texas sitting there by itself, and then the Eastern Bloc, which encompasses more territory than any of them. They're putting out big warnings for the West and saying these things, but the reality is the grid all in all is coming down. And now they're talking about vast swaths of the U.S. this entire summer going through blackouts, stressing the electrical grid while they're sending billions to Ukraine, doing nothing here. And it just blows my mind. Can't find a grassroots protest for the life of us here in this country. It's not backed by the government like BLM or some crazy crap. People standing up for the rights. That's what we're waiting to see. And hopefully that starts to materialize sooner than later here as the people need to take the power back. And the power is in the people, in the politics that you address. The power is in your numbers. And it's time to flex. Join me for the live stream where I break this down further. You'll find links below.
Let me get that verse in. And that brings us back to Jeremiah. Then we'll go over there back to Exodus. It says, the word, Jeremiah 46, verse 1. The word of Yahweh which came to Jeremiah the prophet against the nations, against Egypt, concerning the army of Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, which was by the river Euphrates, and Carchemish, and which Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, defeated in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah. Order the buckler and the shield, and draw near to battle. Harness the horses, and mount up, you horsemen. Stand forth with your helmets, polish the spears, put on the armor. Why have I seen them dismayed and turned back? Their mighty ones are beaten down. They have speedily fled and did not look back. Fear was on all sides, says Yahweh. Do not let the swift flee away, nor the mighty men escape. They will stumble and fall toward the north by the river Euphrates. Who is coming up like a flood, whose waters move like the rivers? Egypt rises up like a flood, and its rivers move like the rivers. The waters move like the rivers. And he says, I will go up and cover the earth. I will destroy the city and its inhabitants. Come up, O horses, and rage, O chariots, and let the mighty men come forth, the Ethiopians and the Libyans who handle the shield, the Libyans who handle and bend the bow. For this is the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, a day of vengeance, the day he may avenge himself on his adversaries. The sword shall devour, it shall be satiated and made drunk with their blood. For Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts has made a sacrifice in the north country by the river Euphrates. Go up to Gilead and take balm, O virgin, the daughter of the daughter of Egypt. In vain you will use many medicines. You shall not be cured. Calling Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakakwadash, the great Ali Shaddai of Israel, the great I am, the possessor of heaven and earth, the spirits of heaven and earth. Coming before you in the name of Yahweh Shai, the Adonai, the Hamashiach, the light of this world, the one who died for Israel and rose to sit to become his father's royal right arm, my Redeemer, my Comforter, and my salvation. And only when I plead his blood over Israel, the only nation granted for salvation, giving respect to great millstone, you know what I'm saying, the high apostles that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai put here in the name of Yahweh Shai to give us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, to get us to come back and fear Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai the Most High, and to prepare us for these great times ahead of us. Giving much respect to the Akwath, the brothers that are in the Akim, Salakia, the brothers that are in this truth, and you may not be from Great Millstone, but you still watch their videos and attend their churches and listen. You still go to the highways and byways, and you do your videos at home, and you risk your freedom and your life to do so just as well as these brothers. Shalom to you. Shalom to the Akwaf, the beautiful women that are in the word, and regardless if you got a man or not, you still fear the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, and you listen and you learn in silence. Coming back at you with another video that is very important and very dire of the things that are coming, and they're coming very fast. They come in very speedily. It's about to be happening soon, which these blackouts and these random blackouts that we all have to be prepared for. The greatest way you can be prepared is spiritually. You know what I'm saying? You can get, like Apostle Tahar said, you can get prepared with like little equipment here and there. You know what I'm saying? Especially for brothers that's living like in the uppermost parts, like, you know, the nice houses, you know what I'm saying? And houses that's away from the ghettos. Because as far as I'm concerned, those of us that live in the ghetto, it might not be too much safer for us to live here pretty soon. You know, you got a lot of people that are going to take opportunities to come and rob during these times of these blackouts. You know what I'm saying? During the times of these great outbursts and uprisings of the people, you know, and these things are going to happen, and they're going to happen without notice and out of the blue, okay? As you can just see, have you seen on Dabu77, which is, this is his, you know what I'm saying, video, and I'm going to replay it again because this is really very, very important. This is important for all of us, the children of Israel, to go back to Yahweh. The Most High will protect us, and the Most High is our light within the darkness.
This is Dabu 7. Heads up as we're getting warnings now to prepare for rolling blackouts, or just flat-out blackouts, period, throughout the summer. And this goes for everyone coast to coast here in the United States. And when we look at these warnings, NERC is saying that the power supplies in the western U.S. could be strained because of the historic drought, which we've talked about. That reduces the hydroelectric power that is generated for those areas. Then you have the weather, the super hot temps. We have no cloud seeding happening down in the west at all. Not a word of it, no one's speaking of it. They're not even trying or attempting to even bring any rain to these regions. They're doing the exact
Did you see
down
that?
in the west at all. Not a word of it, no one's speaking of it. They're not even trying or attempting to even bring any rain to these regions.
All right, so did you hear this? He says they're not even trying or attempting to bring any rain. So they could use the HARP engine, you know what I'm saying? They could use chemtrails to refill that water and all of that has been lost. But will they? No. Can they? They can, but they won't do it. You know what I'm saying? So you see just how the white men want to play God and be in control of the narrative. But he's not understanding that the Most High, he holds the king's heart in his hand, and like the rivers of water, he turn it whatsoever he will. So the white man is in control. He's being controlled by the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Hallelujah. In the name of Yahushai, to bring these plagues upon this place, you know, and to cause the drought, to cause the blackouts, to cause the riots, to cause the chaos, to cause the bloodshed. And these things are going to come like a thief in the night. You got to be prepared for these things. That sand is very, very real, and it's not to be played with. You got to be very circumspect and know the things that are going around you. And like they keep saying, this is going to be one hell of a summer. They talking about the collapse in a month or two. You know what I'm saying? They talking about diesel crisis getting to severe levels pretty much at the beginning of June or in the middle of June. They're talking about a huge spike in hyperinflation, and it's gonna be overly priced things to the point to where you're gonna say, "Fuck the money, I'm just gonna take this shit." Why would I pay out of the ass for something when I could just take it and have it for free? And this is exactly the mindset they're trying to bring our people in. You know, the dumber masses that refuse to come back to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, then the wicked 2/3. You know what I'm saying? They gonna ride right along with the white man. White man want a freedom fight for his rights, and the black man, he want to eat and take care of his kids, not knowing that when this shit happens, things ain't gonna get no better. The Most High is gonna force the 2/3 to focus on their enemy too. They gonna have to focus on the white man. They gonna be like, I know who did it. They fucking did it. And then the white man gonna be like, I didn't do it. The prophets did it. You know what I'm saying? So they gonna be looking at the prophets, and our people gonna be going crazy on these white people and looking for us, looking for answers, trying to look for help. And the Most High told us to turn them away during these times, because this time it's going to be the famine of the word. It's not the stay of bread or the stay of water that's missing, but the famine of the word, to know the reason why these things are happening. What is happening to us? How did this happen? How did we get here? Was it something that we did? Who did this? You know what I'm saying? Not knowing it's the Most High that do all things. I create light. I create darkness. I form good. I form evil. I kill. I make alive. I, Yahweh, do all these things. The Lord did it. And they still wasn't mindful, and they still didn't know who he was. So the Most High is going to go hard as hell on our people, like a nail, like a hammer in the nail. Now, it's going to be even more worse when the plagues get real serious disease-wise. You know what I'm saying? With the monkey man virus, a.k.a. the bubble wrap. You know what I'm saying? People start catching that fucking bubble wrap virus. It's going to get real hectic up in this bitch. Just when you thought the riots, you know what I'm saying, and all the chaos wasn't nothing, you running past people with hideous bumps on their face and shit, looking like fucking zombies, man. Because this shit about to get bad on an imaginary scale. The things that you didn't think was real are real. The spiritual realm is meeting the physical realm. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Most High say, for the 144,000, for those who get the power, or even for those that know the Most High's name, call on the Lord. It may be well that the Most High give you a miracle. It may be well with you that the Most High save your life, grant you spiritual power. Because we get into the times to where, for the children of Israel that know the secret and know the truth about Yahweh Shem Yahushai and the name Yahweh Shai, his only son, we know that through him, all things are possible.
They're doing the exact opposite. They're drying it out. You combine that with them trying to kick up this new green energy plan that seems to not have any backing or any support in it whatsoever. They can't get the solar going, can't get the wind going, or the batteries, any of this stuff together. And it's what they're calling the perfect storm. Imagine that, a perfect storm, huh? Things don't just happen like this. They're engineered this way, just like the scam we've been living through this whole time. But when we take a look here at North America, you can see that it's broke down into several different regions. And depending on where you live, your power is coming from one of these regions. You can see the Quebec region, you can see the Alaska connection, you can see the Western connection, you can see Texas sitting there by itself, and then the Eastern Bloc, which encompasses more territory than any of them. They're putting out big warnings for the West and saying these things, but the reality is the grid all in all is coming down. And now they're talking about vast swaths of the U.S. this entire summer going through blackouts, stressing the electrical grid while they're sending billions to Ukraine, doing nothing here. And it just blows my mind. Can't find a grassroots protest for the life of us here in this country. It's not backed by the government like BLM or some crazy crap. People standing up for the rights. That's what we're waiting to see. And hopefully that starts to materialize sooner than later here, as the people need to take the power back. And the power is in the people, in the politics that you address. The power is in your numbers. And it's time to flex. Join me for the live stream where I break this down further. You'll find links below.
Now I like 077, but don't get me wrong, he about to get these people killed. It ain't no time to fucking stand up for your power. But that's through the power and spirit of the Most High, because he knows his people gonna go on riot and try to take what they want. And this nigga, I like him and all that, but he's sporting the wrong idea. You about to get thousands of people killed off your weird protest. Good information is just coming from a bad source. That's all. He a good he good source, but I'm just saying good information, bad source, bad opinions. Just give them what they need. Do not encourage these people. They're gonna do it regardless. And then people be looking at you like you got everybody killed. You know, he has solid information, but he's also one of those people that believe in fallen angels and the Anunnaki. You know what I'm saying? The flat earthers, you know. He believe in the Christian doctrine. He doesn't believe in Yahweh Shai. He probably heard the name Yahshua and still got it wrong. You know what I'm saying? They say that he could be a spiritual brother, but who knows? But as far as I'm concerned, do not give these people no more motivation, because regardless, they're gonna fucking riot. But when they don't get what they want, they'll be looking for you to kick your ass too. So we can go to Exodus once again, because Exodus got something to say. That is also one of the plagues. Let's go. Let me get it. It says, Exodus chapter 7, verse 1, it says, So Yahweh said to Moses, See, I have made you as God to Pharaoh, and Aaron, your brother, shall be your prophet. That's beautiful, because the Most High tell the children of Israel, Are ye not gods? It says, You shall speak all that I command you. It says, And Aaron, your brother, shall tell Pharaoh to send the children of Israel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. That's what he doing to the white man. He hardening the white man's heart so he can have a challenger. You know what I'm saying? Even though he gonna win, the Most High is gonna win, but you know, he likes it for his enemies to fight back and then meet a horrible fate to make him glorified. That's the whole point. It says, But Pharaoh will not heed you, so that I may lay my hand on Egypt and bring my armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. He said, I'm going to hurt him. He said, I want to hurt him. It says, And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh when I stretch out my hand on Egypt and bring out the children of Israel from among them. So the same thing is happening now, but the remnant is going to come out. The rest of the 2/3 is going to get left to die. It says, Then Moses and Aaron did so, just as Yahweh commanded them. So they did. And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron was 83 years old when they spoke to Pharaoh. It's been a couple of years they've been going back to back. So then Yahweh spoke to Moses and said, and Moses and Aaron, and they were old. But you got to understand what time is. You know what I'm saying? So you can be like 83 years old and still have the body of a fucking 30-year-old, you know? Time was different back then. You never know. He probably wasn't that old and, you know, old man, long beard. You know, he was an able old man, you know, probably able, young, still able to run and all that, you know, because age was different back then. It wasn't as today, you know, like kids like around like 20, and I'm 29 years old, about to be 30, they would consider me an old man at 30. You know what I'm saying? And even back in the ancient days, you know, they would consider, you know, brothers that turn 25 to be a old, like you're about to die or something. Age is different. Age was different back then, you know, because of the laws that were being changed. And age is different today because of what the Edomites did. So, you know, they could have been, you know, probably like old guys with the bodies of 30 to 40 years old, and it wasn't that old. It's just their age, how long they've been around, you know. And through the power of the Spirit of the Lord, yes, of course, they doing all of this. Yeah, they should have like a far capable bodies. It says, then Yahweh spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, when Pharaoh speaks to you, saying, show a miracle for yourselves, then you shall say to Aaron, take your rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and let it become a serpent. So Moses and Aaron went in to Pharaoh, and they did so, just as Yahweh commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. But Pharaoh called the wise men and the sorcerers. So the magicians of Egypt, they also did in like manner with their enchantments. For every man drew down his rod, and they became serpents. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. And Moses' heart grew hard, and he did not heed them, as Yahweh had said. So Yahweh said to Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hard. He refuses to let the people go. It says, go to Pharaoh in the morning, when he goes out to the water, and you shall stand by the river's bank to meet him. And the rod which turned to a serpent you shall take in your hand, and you shall say to him, Yahweh Shem Shai of the Hebrews have sent me to you, saying, let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. But indeed, until now, you would not hear. Thus says Yahweh Shem Shai, by this you shall know that I am Yahweh. Behold, I will strike the waters which are in the river, which the rod that is in my hand, and they shall be turned to blood. And the fish that are in the river shall die. The river shall stink, and the Egyptians will loathe to drink the water of the river. It says, Yahweh Bashem Hashai spoke to Moses, say to Aaron, take your rod and stretch your hand over the waters of Egypt, over their streams, over their rivers, over their ponds, and over all their pools of water, that they may become blood. And there shall be blood throughout all the land of Egypt. But in its buckets of wood, and both in its buckets of wood and pitchers of stone. And the same thing happened, but they call it an algae effect. In different various parts of the world, some of the water turned into blood. Out there in Egypt and in different parts of Africa, they water did turn into blood. And the Hamites that saw that, and this was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the Hamites that saw it, they pulled their clothes out of the water because the streams ran in blood, and the white people blended on a red algae event, and it was actually a curse. So it says, and Moses and Aaron did so, just as Yahweh commanded. So he lifted up the rod and struck the waters that were in the river, and in the sight of the Pharaoh, and in the sight of his servants. And all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood, that their fish were in the river died, their river stank, and the Egyptians could not drink the water of the river. So there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. Then the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart grew hard, and he did not heed them, as Yahweh had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house. So those sorcerers represent the Illuminati. So they feel like the dark prophets against the light prophets. So they know the future just as well as the prophets know the future. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh Shem Yahushua and Name Yahushua, his prophets know the future. But it's going to get to a time and day to where their enchantments and their magic no longer are going to work. And the children of Israel will progress in their power because they're getting closer to Yahweh. So it says, I just wanted to put that in. It says, so all the Egyptians, no, it says, and Pharaoh turned and went into his house, neither was his heart moved by this. So all the Egyptians dug out all the water, though the river, for water to drink, but they could not drink the water of the river. And 7 days passed after Yahweh struck the river, and it was still blood everywhere. It says, and Yahweh spoke to Moses and said, go to Pharaoh and say to him, thus says Yahweh, let my people go, that they may serve me. But if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite your territories with frogs. It says, so the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which you shall come into your house and into your bed. I shall read it again. It says, but if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite your territory, all your territory with frogs. So the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into your house, into your bedroom, on your bed, and into the houses of your servants, on your people, into your ovens, and into your netting bowls. And the frog shall come up on you, and on your people, and all your servants. It says, then Yahweh spoke to Moses, say to Aaron, stretch out your hand with your rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause the frogs to come up on the land of Egypt. I'm getting to my point soon. It says, so Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enchantments and brought up the frogs in the land of Egypt. Said, like, see, we can conjure up those too. They can't. We can do the same thing they can do. So it's just magic. That's what they told Pharaoh, but it's not that. It says, then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, entreat Yahweh that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may sacrifice to Yahweh. And Moses said to Pharaoh, accept the honor of saying, when I shall intercede for your servants, and for your people, to destroy the frogs from you and your houses, that they may remain in the river only. So he said, tomorrow. And he said, let it be according to your word, that you may know that there is no one like Yahweh Ba'ashem Hawashai. And the frogs shall depart from you and from your houses, from your servants and from your people, that they shall remain in the river only. Then Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses cried out to Yahweh concerning the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. So Yahweh did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the courtyards, and out of the fields. They gathered them together in heaps, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart and did not heed them, as Yahweh had said. So Yahweh said to Moses, say to Aaron, stretch out your hand and strike the dust of the land, so that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And they did so, for Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod and struck the dust of the earth, and it became lice on man and beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. Now the magicians so worked with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not. So the lice, their lice were on man and beast. Then the magician said to the Pharaoh, this is the finger of Yahweh. So, like I said, the spirits couldn't do, you know what I'm saying, the things that the prophets can do. And the prophets, the closer they got to Yahweh, the more they grew in power. And the Most High allowed them to, because the Most High was working on them. It says, but Pharaoh's heart grew hard, and he did not heed them, just as Yahweh had said. And Yahweh said to Moses, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh as he comes out to get water to the water. Then say to him, thus says Yahweh, let my people go, that they may serve me. Or else, if you will not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies on you and on your servants, on your people. Remember them horse flies, they'll eat you. They will, literally. And on your people, and say into your and no on your people, into your houses, the houses that the Egyptians shall be full with swarms of flies, and also the ground on which they stand. And in that day I will set apart the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, in order that you may know that I am Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. In the midst of the land I will make a difference between my people and your people. Tomorrow this sign shall be. And Yahweh did so. The swarms of flies came into the house of Pharaoh, and into his servants' houses, and into all the land of Egypt. The land was corrupted because of the swarms of flies. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, go, sacrifice to Yahweh in your land. So this in particular, this one is very interesting, because you know how these swarms of flies gonna come in this time? Through mass amounts of people dying. When this war and this great economic collapse take place with all these riots and all that, ain't gonna be nobody to bury the dead, which is gonna cause that plague to come up within itself. So that plague will come out. The swarms of flies events will return. And it's going to be so many dead bodies on the ground. It's going to be a lot of flies everywhere. A lot of flies. That will come back. And Moses said, it is not. It says, then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, go sacrifice to your God, to Yahweh in the land. It says, and Moses said, it is not right to do so, for we would be sacrificing the abomination of the Egyptians to Yahweh Shem Shai of our God. If we sacrifice the abominations of the Egyptians before their eyes, then will they not stone us? We will go 3 days journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to Yahweh Shem Shai, as he will command us. It says, so Pharaoh said, I will let you go that you may sacrifice to Yahweh Shem Shai in the wilderness. Only you shall not go very far away. Intercede for me. Then Moses said, indeed I am going out from you, and I will entreat Yahweh that the swarms of flies may depart tomorrow from Pharaoh. And it wasn't no ordinary swarms of flies. It was clouds of flies, big ass flies. It was coming to eat them niggas. It says, for his servants and from his people, but let Pharaoh not deal deceitfully anymore, and not letting the people to go sacrifice to Yahweh. So this is what triggered the Passover event too. It says, so Moses went out from Pharaoh and entreated Yahweh. It says, and Yahweh did according to the word of Moses. He removed the swarms of flies, the clouds of flies, from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. Not one remained. And as you can see, that the Most High is beyond human. The Most High is Yahweh Shem Al Shai, and name Al Shai, and there is no other. He couldn't even call on the god of Horus or the god of Anubis. You know what I'm saying? To deliver him from Yahweh Shem Al Shai, because his gods are just nothing but idols of wood and stone and gold and brick. That's all that their gods are. They just stylish statues. So he couldn't call on those gods, you know. It says, but Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time also, neither would he let his people go. Then Yahweh said to Moses, go in to Pharaoh and tell him, thus says Yahweh Shem Al Shai, God of the Hebrews, let my people go that they may serve me. For if you refuse to let them go and hold still them, and still hold them, behold, the hand of Yahweh will be on your cattle in the field, on the horses, on the donkeys, on the camels, on the oxen, and on the sheep, a very severe pestilence. And Yahweh will make a difference between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Egypt, so nothing shall die of all that belongs to the children of Israel. Then Yahweh appointed a set time, saying, tomorrow Yahweh will do this thing in the land. God said, I promise you, I'm going to hurt you. It says, so Yahweh did this thing on the next day, and all the livestock of Egypt died. But of the livestock of the children of Israel, not one died. It says then, and he talking about his food. He struck his food. That's what he's talking about. But but of the livestock of the children of Israel, not one died. Meaning that if you trust in Yahweh during these days that are coming, because the same event that's happening right now, that I'm reading to you, is happening now. And the Most High will preserve you and make sure you got food when no one has food. It says, then Pharaoh sent, indeed, not even one of the livestock of the Israelites was dead. But the heart of Pharaoh became hard, and heart means mind. His mind was so strong, and he did not let the people go. So Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron, take for yourselves handful of ashes from the furnace, and let Moses scatter it towards the heavens in the sight of Pharaoh. Now this one was bad. And it will become fine dust in all the land of Egypt, and it will cause boils that break out in sores on man and beast throughout all the land of Egypt. So what does that sound like right now? That monkey man virus, the monkeypox virus. That it does sound like that, or any virus in that manner, because this is a virus that the Most High had cast on Egypt. And it says, and it will become fine dust and all the land of Egypt, and it will cause boils that break out in sores on man and beast throughout all the land of Egypt. And it does sound a lot like the monkeypox that's coming out right now. It says, and it will become fine dust in all the land of Egypt, and it will cause boils that break out in sores on man and beast throughout all the land of Egypt. That's scary. Them niggas have big ass tumors on them. Tumors. Tumors is big. They ain't no fucking joke neither. Then they took ashes from the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses scattered them toward the heaven, and they caused boils that break out in sores on man and beast. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boils were on the magicians and all the Egyptians. But Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not heed them, just as Yahweh had spoken to Moses. So then Yahweh spoke to Moses, rise early in the morning. No, Yahweh said to Moses, rise early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh and say to him, thus says Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the God of Hebrews, let my people go that they may serve me. For at this time I will send my plagues to your very heart, and on your servants and on your people, that you may know that there is none like me in all the earth. Now if I stretch out my hand and struck you and your people with pestilence, then you would have been cut off from the earth. If the Most High would release a even heavier pestilence, then they will die. It says, but indeed for this purpose I have raised you up, that I may show my power in you, and that my name may be declared in all the earth. As yet you exalt yourself against my people, and that you will not let them go. But tomorrow, about this time, I will cause very heavy hail to rain down, such as not been in Egypt. He about to scare the crap out of the Pharaoh. Such as not been in Egypt since its founding until now. Therefore ascend now, and gather your livestock and all that you have in the field, for the hail shall come down on every man and on every animal which is found in the field and is not brought home, and they shall die, because it was big ass ice rocks. And he who feared the word of Yahweh among the servants of Pharaoh made his servants and his livestock flee to the houses. But he who did not regard the word of Yahweh left his servants and his livestock in the field. Because they was like, I believe in Horus. Horus will protect us. Anubis will protect us. And none of those gods were real. It says, then Yahweh Hashem Yahushai said to Moses, stretch out your hand toward heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, on man and on beast and on every herb of the field throughout the land of Egypt. And Moses stretched out his hand toward heaven, and Yahweh sent thunder and hail. So it was gigantic black clouds with big ass ice balls, and fire darted to the ground. Oh, that's even worse, because it was burning their houses up. Thunder and hail and fire, ice and fire. Now that's powerful. And Yahweh rained hail on the land of Egypt. So there was hail, and fire mingled with the hail, big ice rocks and fire. It says, so very heavy that there was none like it in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. It was homes on fire. People was getting hit in their head with big ass rocks. It was stoning their animals to death. It was horrible. Smoke everywhere. And it was wind and hail and thunder. I don't see how they could take all that damage. It says, and the hail struck throughout the whole land of Egypt, all that was in the field, both man and beast. And the hail struck every herb of the field and broke every tree of the field. Only the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, there was no hail. And Pharaoh sent and called forth for Moses and Aaron, and said to them, I have sinned this time. Yahweh is righteous, and my people are wicked. Entreat Yahweh that there be no more mighty thundering and hail, for it is enough. Because the Most High spoke to Moses and Aaron head on in Hebrew, but the people that didn't believe, which are the Hamites, which are the ancient Egyptians, the Most High came to them with violence and thunder and storm. That's how the Most High speak to you. When you don't fear him, he gonna make you fear him. You don't want no smoke like that. It says, entreat Yahweh that there be no more mighty thundering and hail, for it is enough. I will let you go, and you shall stay no longer. So Moses said to him, as soon as I have gone out of the city, I will spread out my hands to Yahweh. The thunder will cease, and there will be no more hail, that you may know that the earth is Yahweh's. But as for you and your servants, I know that you will not yet fear Yahweh. Now the flax and the barley were struck, for the barley was in the head, and the flax was in bud, but the wheat and the spelt were not struck, for they are late crops. Meaning that they left them some food, even though they destroyed everything. So Moses went out of the city from Pharaoh and spread out his hands towards Yahweh. Then the thunder and the hail ceased, and the rain was not poured on the earth. And when Pharaoh saw that the rain and hail and the thunder had ceased, he sinned yet more. He hardened his heart, and he and his servants. So the heart of the Pharaoh was hard, neither would he let the children of Israel go, and as Yahweh had spoken to Moses. Now Yahweh said to Moses, go into Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and his hearts of his servants, that I may know these signs of mine before him, that you may tell in the hearing of your sons and the mighty things I have done in Egypt, my signs in which I have done among them. See, I skipped a sign or two. It was one special sign that he did that was really good. Or maybe I didn't skip it. No, I didn't. Because it was powerful. Wait. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because it was, there it is. There it is. And this connects to the blackouts. So I'm going to read this last part and then I'm going to close out. And then I shall be finished. Read these whole columns. It says, now Yahweh said to Moses, go to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his servants, that I may show these signs of mine before him. Because it was not only a battle of the flesh, it was a battle in the spirit. And they couldn't stop Yahweh's spirit. Yahweh's spirit was consuming them. And that but they didn't have no choice but to fight back, because the Most High put it on his heart to harden, to be hard against the Lord. And that you may, because the Lord wanted to destroy him, and that you may tell in the hearing of your son and your son's son the mighty things I have done in Egypt, my signs which I have done among them, that you may know that I am Yahweh. It says, so Moses and Aaron came in to Pharaoh and said to him, thus says Yahweh Bashem El Shai, the God of Hebrews, how long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. Or else, if you refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring locusts into your territory. Bring them flies. And these flies eat, and they bite, and they eat crops, and they destroy everything. These flies are worse than horse flies. Locusts is grasshoppers that become locusts. It says, or some can be locusts, and then grasshoppers are locusts. They can become locusts or flying grasshoppers. It says, and they shall cover the face of the earth, so that no one will be able to see the earth, and they shall eat the residue of what is left, which remains to you from the hail. So he said, I was going to leave you a little bit of crops that I didn't touch with the hail, but since you don't want to let my people go, I'm just going to let these locusts eat the rest of your food. And it caused a famine. It says, which remains to you from the hail, and they shall eat every tree which grows up for you out of the field. Because if he lets the children of Israel go, his whole entire his whole entire economy is based off the backs of the children of Israel. So if he let them go, his economy would collapse. He just felt like if he can outright the plagues that the Lord would throw at him, because this is what he put in the Pharaoh's mind, that Yahweh would relent and he would be able to keep the children of Israel and rebuild everything that was lost. But this is exactly what's going on in a white man's mind, because the white man is in his own Egypt, which is America. You know what I'm saying? And the white man is Pharaoh. So the Most High is putting it in his mind to harden his heart to do evil. He's making him want to do evil. He's making him want to kill. He doesn't want to give the children up. He'll kill them before he give them up. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on in the mind of the white man right now. It says, they shall fill the houses of all your servants and the houses of all the Egyptians, which neither your fathers nor your fathers have seen, since the day they were on the earth to this day. And he turned and went out from the Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh's servant said to him, how long shall this man be a snare to us? Let the men go, that they may serve Yahweh Bashem Yahushai their God. Do you not yet know that Egypt is destroyed? Yep, after the hailstones, God nearly burned down Egypt. You can only imagine Egypt back then. It was a city, a big-ass city, probably like New York City, big. And it got destroyed. It says, so Moses and Aaron were brought again to Pharaoh, and he said to them, go serve Yahweh, your God. Who are the ones that are going? And Moses said, we will go with our young and our old, with our sons and our daughters, with our flocks and our herds. We will go, for we must hold the feast of Yahweh. No, for we must hold a feast to Yahweh. Then he said to them, Yahweh had better be with you when I let you and your little ones go. Beware, for evil is ahead of you. Not so. Go now, you who are men, and serve Yahweh, for that this is what you desired. And they were driven out from Pharaoh's presence. Then Yahweh said to Moses, because Moses was mad, Pharaoh was mad, he about to lose a lot of more money. The real money was the Israelite slaves. He knows that. It says, then Yahweh said to Moses, stretch out your hand and hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb of the land and all the hail that has left. It says, so Moses stretched out his rod over the land of Egypt, and Yahweh brought on east wind on the land, and all the day and all that night. When it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts, and the locusts went up over all the land of Egypt and rested on all the territory of Egypt. That it says they were very severe. Previously there had been no such locusts as they, nor shall there be such after them. For they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened, and they ate every herb of the land and all of the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. So there remained nothing green on the trees or on the plants of the field throughout all the land of Egypt. So his economy did collapse. It ended up collapsing. It says, then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in haste and said, I have sinned against Yahweh your God and against you. Now therefore please forgive me No, forgive my sin only this once and entreat Yahweh Shem Shai, your God, that he may take away from me this death only. So when he went out from Pharaoh, he entreated Yahweh, and Yahweh turned a very strong west wind, which took the locusts away and blew them into the Red Sea. There remained not one locust in all the territory of Egypt. But Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the children of Israel go, because the Most High loves a battle. He's a man of war. So you got to understand that. Why would he harden his Pharaoh's heart? Because he likes a challenge, and he wants to destroy Pharaoh. So he's destroying him. It says, then Yahweh said to Moses, stretch out your hand over heaven, toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, darkness which may even be felt. This is what's coming to the U.S. with the grid down. This is the point of my story, No, one of the points beside the Passover. But this is where I, get to my point. So Moses stretched out his hand toward heaven, and there was thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They did not see one another, nor did anyone rise from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. Then Pharaoh called to Moses and said, go serve Yahweh. Only let your flocks and your herds be kept back. Let your little ones also go with you. But Moses said, you must also give us sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice to Yahweh Shem Shai. It says, our livestock shall go with us, not a hoof shall be left behind, for we must take some of them to serve Yahweh Shem Shai. And even we do not know with what we must serve Yahweh until we arrive there. But Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. Therefore the Pharaoh said to him, get away from me, take heed for yourself, and see my face no more. For in the day you see my face, you shall die. So Moses said, you have spoken well. I will never see your face again. But here's the closing part. But that is interesting that they talking about the grid down event, because the grid down event is going to be like 4 or 5 days without lights. It can even go 2 to 3 weeks. You never know. You know what I'm saying? But this will take place. It's probably starting in June. That's the rumor. And some say, Apostle Tahar says in July. They said they give them 2 months. Some of them say 1 month. It's just best to be prepared, because regardless, it's unavoidable. And they putting it on the news, and they broadcasting it, telling you that we're running out of power. We have to do power rationing, and they saying like it's some sort of test or whatever, but it's not. It's actually pretty serious, and they're really trying to bring some chaos out of this shit. So, it's just best to pay attention and to understand what's happening. But there it is right there. There you have it. It says they did not. It says, so Moses, no, it says, then Yahweh said to Moses, stretch out your hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, darkness which may even be felt. And I've been in places like Leona Valley and places like the Mojave Desert, where there was barely any light. And it was so dark there, you wouldn't even want to walk in it. That's how bad it was. In Leona Valley, it was so dark, you wouldn't even want, without the moon out, you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't even want to walk in that kind of darkness. It was like a fog. Darkness could get real thick, real strong. You can wave your hand through it. It's that bad. So in these days to come, when these certain cities do a grid down, or they're calling it EMP event, when this does take place, and they're saying it's going to take place. So it's not just, you know what I'm saying, even though people, they don't take the Bible's word for it. I do. But these people, they'll listen to the news before anything. So, the news has said it too. So, but we telling you through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It happened back then. It's going to happen now. But I don't want to swoop back into the final plague is the Passover event, and we all know well of that. So with that, calling Yahweh Shem Shai Bashem Kakwadash, Lord willing, this will be edifying message to all that stumble upon it. And to the children of Israel, it can never be so important that you repent and you return to Yahweh. Yahweh loves you, and the Most High does care for his people. And in the name of Yahweh Shai, he wants you to come back home so he can take care of you. And even though a lot of us will not make it, he's just trying to make sure he get all the remnant and get us all together so that those of us do have at least a chance, to make it. He'll give us that chance to make it. But, for the other 2/3, they probably won't. And it'll be to their own destruction. And with that, shalom.